Mini lesson number 1, Transatlantic Slave Trade, Middle Passage, 1500s to 1870s. The transatlantic slave trade is responsible for the forced migration of captured African men, women, and children by European slave traders, mainly to the Americas. This slave trade system is estimated to have occurred from the 1500s to the 1870s, more than 370 years. Known as the Triangular Trade, this voyage involved 3 routes: Europe to Africa to transport goods such as knives, guns, cloth, tools, and brass dishes; Africa to the Americas, known as the Middle Passage, to transport captured Africans for forced labor; and from the Americas back to Europe to transport materials produced on slave plantations such as sugar, rice, tobacco, rum, and cotton. Completely dehumanized and treated like savage beasts, the captured Africans were chained together on cargo ships with little room to move, sometimes less than 18 inches apart for weeks to months. They were deprived of all human comfort and often unable to communicate with each other as they spoke many different languages. Bodily functions and atrocities occurred in these tight spaces, including sleeping, weeping, eating, urination, defecation, menstruation, vomiting, sexual abuse, rape, birth, at times to their captors' babies, and death. The inhumane conditions incurred on the slave ships led to many diseases such as influenza, measles, scurvy, smallpox, and dysentery. To add insult to injury, captured Africans were often forced to entertain the crew by dancing and singing. Captured Africans did not meekly accept their fate. Approximately 1 out of 10 slave ships experienced resistance, ranging from individual defiance, committing suicide by refusing to eat or jumping overboard, to full-blown mutiny, fighting to overthrow the ship. Suicide attempts were so common that many captains placed netting around their ships to prevent loss of human cargo in order to protect their profit margin. Sharks regularly followed slave ships due to the number of dead bodies or dying Africans that were thrown into the ocean. The total number of Africans captured is not known. It is estimated that between 12 to 15 million Africans, primarily from Central and West Africa, made the 21 to 90-day terror-filled voyage amid vile conditions and despicable, overcrowded ships. Many scholars agree that nearly as many Africans died crossing the Middle Passage as those who reached the end of the voyage. This does not account for the millions of Africans estimated to have died fighting against their would-be captors, who never made it on board the slave ships. The transatlantic slave trade was outlawed in 1808 in the United States. However, domestic slave trading within the United States remained until chattel slavery was abolished in 1865, but continued in other parts of the Americas until the 1870s. This slave trade system was a part of the larger European slave trade, which estimated to have occurred from the 1440s to the 1870s. Over the course of roughly 430 years, it is estimated that 20 to 30 million Africans were captured and transported. Today, there are tens of millions of people of African origin who, because of the transatlantic slave trade, live in the United States, the Caribbean, Brazil, and other countries in the Western Hemisphere, and elsewhere outside of Africa.